All right. So a very long break I had in the between. Don't really know. Like it's difficult to get back to the track, but here we are trying to build exchange. This is the part 4 of the video in which Hargir is making the scalable WebSocket app. Now there are other parts of it as well. Uh, but before making the entire exchange, I think it was very necessary for me to learn what is or like how the WebSockets and how the Redis pub sub is working actually. So for that, for learning that particularly, I went through the entire uh, scalable WebSocket app thing. Now this is something that I'm completing right now. Very difficult, very difficult in understanding. A lot of code related to Redis. A lot of like I have to run Redis as well, just so you know. So this is my Redis been running for a while now. I tried making a very V1 version of the code that Harkit was talking about. Right now I'm using cursor because I figured it out that it would be difficult to do it by my own. So this is a cursor, very small, just a code, but still highly complex. Not right now, but further we'll see how it gets complex. This is me initializing a client of WebSocket server. Yeah, this is an empty in-memory variable users, which is an object which will contain a WebSocket and which will contain rooms. Now, why would it contain WebSocket? Is because every particular user will be connected to a particular WebSocket, right? And so that's why. I'm still confused about it, but this is my understanding till now. Aside from that, rooms obviously because the user is going to be part of multiple rooms, so that's why we have a string array. Now about this is just saying okay, for that client we are making a connection, and whenever you make a connection with that client, run this particular function. All right, so this is the function that is getting run. Now const id random id we are just generating a random id inside the user. So okay, for this particular user which have a id xyz, we want a w so like we want this WebSocket and we want empty room. So this is what is happening right now. All right, because we have one WebSocket. This is my learning of understanding of this. Let me just quickly add in this. There is okay. There is that line of code. There is so it is ws because we only are running one WebSocket, right? Yeah, it is ws because we are running only, you are not running one WebSocket on connection. This runs every time a new client connects, then this runs each time. Okay, so for that particular user, that WebSocket will be new. All right. I think I should not judge it by the naming. KIWS is equals to one connection, one user. Server handles all user. Why we store WS? Because each user has their own connection. This is WSS because WebSocket server, I guess, right? Yeah, WSS that contains multiple, and WS is one particular WebSocket, which is one connection because each user has their own connection. All right, so I think it's pretty understandable now. Okay, so uh, yeah, moving on. This is the message event. This is the close event. When the message event occurs, it should just do this, is what is meant here. Now whatever message we will get, it will be in JSON, and it will be in a string, and we need to pass it into a JSON. Now json.parse, so this will get converted into a JSON. Now we will be sending a JSON like structure, but it will be a string. When the JSON like structure is received into the parse message, you can access it. So parse message dot room and parse message dot type, so all these stuff, yeah, we will be able to do it. So basically this is a very simple WebSocket connection that we made, in which we can broadcast messages, and like a person can come and they can send message and receive message, so all of those stuff will happen as well. So yeah, this is that. Now the next part of it is basically installing the Redis, because we want to connect it to the Redis part as well. If I can show you what Harkirat was trying to tell, it was something like, okay, alright, if I have two users and they are coming to a particular WebSocket server, it is very good to communicate data from one particular point to other. Okay, this is going to lag very heavily because my battery is so low. Wait a second. Yeah, so what I was on about was, if this is user 1, this is user 2, let me close other things as well that I might not need. I need this, I need this, I don't need this, I don't need this. And yeah, it's been a while since I've cleaned up my laptop, so alright. So if this is user 1 connecting to a WebSocket 1, this is user 2 connected to a WebSocket 1, the communication can happen easily. This is not a problem at all. So I'll just type it out as well. This is WebSocket 1. How can I increase the size? This is WebSocket 1. Alright. This is user 1. Maybe I should do this. Copy, paste. It did not work, but alright. User 1. User 2. Now if we have user 3 as well over here, and it is connected to a particular WebSocket 2 over here, how will we communicate that data if they all three are in the same room? And for this particular use case, we will need one more thing, which is called the pub sub. This is what Hargit was talking about. This is the pub sub. Alright. Let me just quickly put it over here. Pub sub. Okay, so this is going to be basically what will happen is, when any user will be like, oh, I want data, and tell it to WebSocket 1, it will maintain a connection to this, and it will be like, okay, I want to subscribe to the data, and whenever any changes happen to the pub sub, it will be reflected in all the WebSocket servers. This is what is happening right now. So for that, we need to initialize pub sub as well, and that is, we will do it using the npm install Redis, basically the Redis package. No, it is quite, man, this is so laggy. Alrighty, this is happening. Okay. Yeah, so there are two things. Now we need const, we don't need this actually. We need to import create client from no, from Redis. Now const publish client is the name given by Hybrid as well, I guess.
Through the pub sub flows to this director. I am subscribed to room 1 to room 1 dot message. All right. Do we understand this pseudocode? Let's do a poll. Is when you need to, do a function called main.
See, there is a publish client and there is a subscribe client. The reason for this is because for one client you cannot use both the publish and both the subscribe like together, right? Either it will be a publish client, it will be a subscribe client. So let's make it publish client and it will be create client. I think that's it. And then publish client dot connect. So laggy, man. You must be saying that he is awaiting it, but like later on he will remove that. So subscribe client, subscribe client. All right. Okay. Now what should happen is whenever a message is sent, it should be published on to the Redis. This is what my understanding is. So for now, let's just remove this, which is what Huggy did as well, and we will be like, okay, publish client dot publish
Genius way to do this. I also lost that logic.
publish client dot publish room ID. Yes, I need to okay, so this is how we're gonna remember it. When I published hey, I actually added room ID, right? And then I published it. So what we are going to use is room ID, which is const room ID is equals to pass message dot room ID. Great. Room ID, and then the callback function, which is not the callback function specifically because I just need to pass a JSON. Not even JSON, I just need to stringify the JSON that I'm getting. JSON.stringify type send message room ID message. I think we will be able to see why he did what he did here. Also like const message is equals to pass message room ID JSON dot stringify type send message and room ID. Great. So I have published a client that is taking the room ID and giving a JSON that is this. Alright, I don't need this part of the code. Now this is a bit confusing. So this is also told by us pass message dot type. Okay, let's see what he does for the
let's do something like this. Let's create a function called subscribe synchronous, connect to it and
He's
user space
gonna make it
we
asynchronous, which is
need to open
the
it.
one
We
he
need to
used.
look something like this. Whenever the user subscribes, if
Okay. So, okay, why we are writing it? I was getting confused over this. Like, what's the point of writing it inside a message? What is happening to my charger, man? Why is it bugging out? Apple does some weird shit. Swear to God. This is distracting me a lot. Okay, let's ignore it for now. Yeah, going back, why we are writing it on message, because if you remember how the exchange was working, so let me go back to backpack. Wow, beautiful. Backpack exchange. This is so laggy, man. I hate this. Sorry guys for being a negative Nancy brother, but like this is actually pretty annoying. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but alright. Network. Okay, this is something weird. Let's not go there. Okay, but I need a particular market. Can you give me some space? Okay. Alright, there is a market, and let me put it at all. If I remove this, if I go to just hovering over it is doing something. Like, let me click on this. Now I'm going to see. I should see the WebSocket server. If I click on this, will it help? No, if I click on this. Maybe it was the old way of doing it, but I'm not able to find exactly. Maybe if I just do this and refresh it. What the hell? So, for some reason. Post 881. Why? Alright. Alright. Fine, right? So, this. This is a message, and that is why we're using the event message trigger.
subscriptions. Oh, yeah, this is going to be really long now. So you click check and dot subscribe. And here is where you need to send the user back the message. Iterate over all the users that are interested in this room. I repeat, if the first person who's interested in room 1 joined, if one user has we will write this function eventually, but if one user has subscribed to this room, is when you need to subscribe to the pub-sub. If another user subscribes, then you don't have to
I'm crazy.
subscribe to the pub-sub. You only have to do this once. When the first person who's interested in room 1 comes, then if another person comes, it is fine. You don't have to resubscribe to the pub-sub. Here only, we will have the logic to iterate over all the users. The logic that we had, object.keys of subscription, you don't have to resubscribe to the pub-sub. Here only, we will have but if one user has subscribed to this room, is when you need to subscribe to the pub-sub. If another
Okay, this is pretty understandable. If one user is subscribed to the room, then we'll have to subscribe to the pub-sub. Great. If there is no person who wants data, then we don't need to have any data, like show any data.
user subscribes, then you don't have to resubscribe to the pub-sub. You only have to do this once. When the first person who's interested in room 1 comes, then if another person comes, it is fine. You don't have to resubscribe to the pub-sub. Here only, we will have the logic to iterate over all the users. The logic that we had, object.keys of subscriptions dot.
And my understanding of it is that let subscribe client dot subscribe, like this particular thing, any data that will, okay, I want to subscribe. Once I subscribe to the connection, I should be able to see all the data of that particular room, is my thinking. Now I don't know how correct I am or how wrong I am. Let me think. If I subscribe, if I send message, then it should go. It should publish to every room. So let's see the terminal again. So when I subscribe to room 1, any data, if I'm publishing something to room 1, it will be seen because I've subscribed. So if one user has subscribed, this is what my thinking is, that I should be able to see the data that is present in that room, which I think is wrong. I think it should not be like that, right?
For each user ID, const ws comma subscriptions equal to what was it, subscriptions of user ID or whatever, rooms, sorry. And if rooms dot includes past message dot room ID, then we can do a ws dot send message or whatever, past message dot message or whatever, past message dot message.
God damn it. What's going on? This data that we are getting, it is telling me the type and stuff. Then I'm getting another data, which is this, when I'm subscribing, which contains room ID and the WebSocket. What does subscribe do? That is my problem.
All right. Do we understand this pseudocode? Let's do a poll. Do we understand?
Let me first write it down. Subscriber.client subscribe const pass messages blah blah blah. Very good. If 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 no if okay, I just need to read object dot keys of users for each user ID. Okay, this is what we need to write. Goodness. The WS in the rooms is the user ID that is present. I don't know if I'm muted or what. One user subscribe to is a function that I need to make. Let's leave that. If I find a single person that wants to subscribe to our Redis service, then I will subscribe, and whatever message I'll receive, I'll parse it. And if out of all the users, whoever are in that particular room, they will be selected and the message will be sent to them. But what message? That is what I'm thinking.
When the users are subscribing, in what cases does the WebSocket server need to subscribe to the PubSub? I repeat, as more and more users subscribe to Room 1, in what case does the backend server need to subscribe to the PubSub? We sort of understand it. We don't understand it very well. Only 75% understands it. Let me quickly look at Q&A and see if there's any specific question again. Help answer. If I want to use the same music class, can you please say the structure of the classes? Sure. I will let me after finish this. Everything went over my head after Redis. Okay. Let me quickly recap what is happening. We want to build a distributed WebSocket server. This was our original implementation. Okay, we had a simple single WebSocket server. We had browser 1 over here. We had a browser 2 over here. This code we understood. Okay, whenever a user says, I want to subscribe to Room 1, and then this user sends a message, I want to send a message to Room 1. Hi, there is my message. We were able to write the logic. Yeah, this hi there message reaches this specific person who had subscribed to Room 1 in the past. This we understood. Now the question is, we will have a distributed system. We will have one WebSocket server. We will have another WebSocket server. If a browser comes and says, I want to subscribe to Room 1, then my WebSocket server itself needs to subscribe to a PubSub. We started Redis locally. Redis lets you publish and subscribe to events on a specific channel. So what did we say? If a browser comes and says, I want to subscribe to Room 1, then any event that is happening on Room 1 on this server also needs to reach this server so that it can go back to B2, right? If B1 sends hi there on Room 1, it needs to somehow reach WebSocket server 2 so that WebSocket server 2 can forward the message to B2. This is browser 1, this is browser 2. Which means when B1 says, I want to subscribe to Room 1, the WebSocket server also says, hey, I am subscribed to Room 1 on the PubSub. I am subscribed to Room 1 on the PubSub. Now, if another B3 browser comes and also says, I also want to subscribe to Room 1, then does the WebSocket server need to resubscribe to Room 1? No, it is already subscribed. Right? When the first person came, jab pehla banda aaya, then the WebSocket server subscribed to the PubSub. Now, if another person comes and says, I want to subscribe, it is fine. We are already listening to all messages on Room 1. So if B1 now sends a message that says, hi there on Room 1, this message we publish onto the PubSub. And this server was already subscribed to it. Hence, this message comes here. We iterate over all the users and send both of them messages. This is how in a distributed WebSocket server, where two people that are interested in the same room are connected to different WebSocket servers can receive messages, without being stuck on a single server. You can still, if you want to avoid this complicated architecture, what would you have done? You would have made sure everyone who's part of a single room is connected to the same WebSocket server. You would have created a sticky WebSocket connection. If whoever is interested in Room 1, please connect to WebSocket server 1. But since we wanted distributed, more scalable backend architecture, we created this PubSub. Let's do another poll. Do we understand this now? I'll take you to the code very soon. But do we understand the architecture? I will take you to the code very soon. Do we understand the architecture of, when the first person joins here is when our WebSocket server connects to the PubSub, so that any event that is coming through the PubSub flows to this guy right here, and then gets forwarded to B2, B3, or other browsers. Similarly, if there is another, we understand the architecture. Let's understand the code. What is the code saying? देखो पहले तो whenever a message comes, all you have to do now is forward the message to the pub sub. You don't have to iterate over all the users. Just forward the message to the pub sub. The pub sub will find the relevant WebSocket servers that are subscribed to room 1 and forward the message there. And then these relevant servers need to iterate over all the users and forward the message to both the sides. So what is happening on the send message event? It is simply publishing to the pub sub. It is simply telling the publisher subscriber, okay, hey, a message needs to be sent to room ID, room 1. And what is happening when someone subscribes? When B2 might have subscribed or B3 might have subscribed, we ran this logic. We pushed it to the in-memory object like we were doing before. We store in the in-memory object, AR, this specific ID is subscribed to this room. But we also tell the pub sub, if this is the first user that is subscribing to this room, if B2 is the first person that subscribed over here, we also we tell the pub sub, ab jo bhi event aa raha hai na, I am now interested in room 1. I have at least one person who is interested in room 1. And hence, I as the WebSocket server, I'm interested in room 1. Whatever event is coming on room 1 from anywhere, doesn't matter. There might be a third server that's publishing to room 1. That is fine. Please forward it back to me. How do we write that logic? This is how we write that logic. If one user subscribed to, this is the function we will be writing eventually. If this is the first person who has subscribed to room 1 on this WebSocket server, if this is the first person who has subscribed to this room, then subscribe client, I repeat, subscribe client, the other Redis connection that we had created, dot subscribe to any message that is coming on this room. And whenever a message does come on this room, whenever someone publishes to this channel, find all the local people that are interested in this room and forward them this message. This is the same logic we wrote a while back. Earlier, this logic was directly in the send message function. Whenever someone was sending a message, we were iterating over everyone. Now, whenever someone sends a message, we publish it to the pub sub. Through the pub sub, the event reaches here, and that's how we forward it back to the user. The only thing that's left is implementing this function. But do we understand the code now before I get into writing this function? Let's do another poll while I write this function. Okay, we understand this. Now you should ideally have a global object that does something more, that stores, const room count or something like this. Since we don't have another global object, I have to iterate over all the subscriptions and find, is this the first subscription to room 1? But you can make this cleaner. If you look at the final WebSocket code that we have written for the exchange, there is an object there called reverse subscriptions that we use just for some caching to avoid this very long loop that I will have to run now. For let I, again, object dot keys of subscriptions dot map user ID. If subscriptions of user ID dot rooms dot includes this specific room ID, then we can say total interested people plus plus, and if total interested people equal to 1, then we can return true, else we can return false. So what is the one user subscribed to function doing? It is returning true if only one person is subscribed to this room. It is returning false if more than 1 or 0 people are subscribed to this room. So this specific function that we call over here will check, okay, is this the first person that got interested in this room? And if it is, then we subscribe. Let me put some logs. Console.log subscribing on the pub sub to room ID, or whatever. Can we write similar logic on the unsubscribe side? If this is the last person who left this room, I repeat, if last person left room, specific room, then what do we need to do? We need to unsubscribe from the pub sub. We need to call subscribe client dot unsubscribe on this specific room. If all the browsers that were connected to me are no longer interested in room 1, if they left or something else happened, then I also no longer need to listen to any events on room 1, right? I can also unsubscribe on the pub sub. You should add some more logic when the user leaves. If user socket dot on close happens, if the user can either publish to you, okay, I want to unsubscribe, or the user can just die, right? The user can just leave. And when the user leaves is also when you should, run the same logic again and, check what all rooms the user was a part of, and then, clean up this global object, do a bunch of things. I'm ignoring that for now, but we've done that in the exchange. When a user leaves, you should again run this logic and make sure that you clean up the subscriptions if need be. Last person left room.
My questions will only be answered by ChatGPT, I guess. Alright, so in this subscriber client pass message, why do we subscribe are iterating over all the users and sending them message and not an send message? We iterate over user and subscribe follower because Redis send the message to the server, not directly. publish client.publish. Publish client.publish room id comma blah blah blah. All subscribe users, servers. Message is arrived from this. User sends message. Server publishes to others. Most rather server reachable. Only this server. I'm not able to understand this one. This is so difficult. This is so difficult. The confusion resolved. You were thinking, why not directly send? Right. So Redis is communicating with my websockets. I get that. Okay. Then, oh man, when I publish on, when I subscribe to a particular from a user, when I subscribe from a user, I subscribe from user and there is no message. Will I see anything? Obviously not. But after send message, the client will, the server I need to send that. Now the request will be like, okay, the service is right to me. I need to send that to the be like, okay, whosoever subscribed to me, I need to send that to the if we know that one user has subscribed, then why do we even need to subscribe again? Subscribe client or subscribe as message or room. I can't understand this, man. This is so confusing. Redis only knows subscriber is equals to your server. Server subscribe. Okay. Server subscribes. Okay. Your server user A, user B, user C, not user A, user B, user C. The line subscribe client dot subscribe room call bar means this server is subscribing to Redis. Which server? Subscribe client dot subscribe room ID is given, but where is the server given? In this line of code, client is there, subscribe is there, room ID is there, but where is the Sorry guys, I'm a little slow today. I'm a lot, like not even little, I'm very slow today. The reason is, I don't know, a lot of things going to my head. I wish I could concentrate better, man. This is a very sharp question. It shows you are thinking correctly now. You are the server. There is no separate server in this. Like subscribe, plan to subscribe, room, callback. This code is running inside your. Okay. Maybe this is something else then. Past my system. Is it because I'm inside WSS dot connection? Your entire file is a server. Node.js, WebSocket server, everything in the file runs on that server. The server is opening a connection to Redis. No, so like like multiple WebSocket server is different from some multiple WebSocket server which are running in the main server is the server. You have one WebSocket server on one real machine. If this is if this is one web server, how does multiple user have different WebSocket? One WebSocket server can handle many connections. This is like a hotel user connection. So this so not entirely WebSocket, but part of it. I will kill myself. I swear to God, man. This is so annoying. Like, uh, okay, this is the exact concept. Wait, can you just explain to me from outside to from the top layer of the architecture to the very depth of it? top layer, which is the browser, okay, users open your app, a WebSocket connection is created. Your server, Node.js, this is the code, creates a WebSocket server. Okay, a WebSocket connection is created. The connection is created in my server. In my server. What happens when user connect? When user connect, first layer is user opening all of WebSocket connections created. By the web, oh my! If a WebSocket connection is created, why are we putting it like this? Either these two steps are having like these are independent steps. WebSocket connection is created. WebSocket server is created. What happens when user connect? Every time a user connect, new user, new WebSocket object. WebSocket connection. Okay, let me write my understanding. So server is running. The user from browsers come and establish a WebSocket connection, which is this is fantastic. WebSocket server, which is created by the WebSocket server in the backend server. Okay. Full connection with one user. Your user storage connection rooms they join. You need to know which user to send to. Rooms your logic layer stored in rooms, room 1 and room 2. When message comes, if room 1. This is my users getting stored. This is my storage. Okay. Because later ws.send, you need to know which user to send to. Okay. Rooms, your logic layer. Rooms is not something that I don't understand. Without it is user is server loop user sent to matching user. Enters Redis. Now you add publish line. Message broker middleman. Full flow with Redis. User sends message. Okay, user sends message. Redis handles it. All subscribe server. Your server receives it. Subscribe to users. And in the Redis layer, the Redis tell the server that alright, this message has been published. The server then gives it to all the WebSockets and establish the connection. Does it make sense? Does this make sense? It's going to be like 85 to 90%. Oh my god, I'm 85 to 90% closed. I think my mental breakdown is going to be purely, it's going to be popular someday, because this freaking thing is so, I mean, so so crazy. Why is it so fucking difficult now? Connections are already established earlier. Server does not re-establish connection. Server is running. Users from browser connect and establish WebSocket connection through the WebSocket server. Each user get their own WebSocket connection. When a message is published to Redis, Redis notifies the server. The server then sends that message to the relevant WebSocket connection. The server is running. Users from browser connect and establish WebSocket connection through the WebSocket server. The server is running. Users from browser connect and establish WebSocket connection through the WebSocket server. The server is running. Users from browser connect and establish WebSocket connection through the WebSocket server. Each user get their own WebSocket connection. When a message is published to Redis, Redis notifies the server. When a Alright guys, a break. My mother is calling me. Alright, let's get back. Just took my dinner. I don't know how much time did I take. I think it was around 20 minutes, but I can be wrong. Okay, let's get this done. The server is running. Users from browsers connect and establish WebSocket connection. Each user their own WebSocket connection. Okay, this is server. How do I change the size, man? This server it contains WebSocket server creation by client. Okay. Server. Should WebSocket server. WebSocket one. close. I don't need this. Alright, so okay, let's rethink everything. This is the code. This is my inside WebSocket. This is my server that has the WebSocket server logic in here. Now, whenever I put a connection, like this is my web server socket, connection is getting established whenever a particular user ID. As soon as someone is establishing a connection, that is a user, right? It will have his user ID, it will have his room, which will be empty in the start, which is what is done over here. And whenever a particular WebSocket is coming over here, it is getting initialized, right? So that part is done. Now I'll go silent for a minute. If pass message dot type equals to subscribe, okay, we will subscribe. Uh, if users ID dot rooms dot push, pass message will have a room as well. So if pass message dot type subscribe, if user id rooms dot includes rooms dot push pass message dot room. uh, if one user subscribe to pass message dot room subscribe client or subscribe pass message dot room message object dot keys user for each user id const base rooms is equals to users user id. If rooms dot include pass message dot room id, the lowest would send pass message dot message. I need to subscribe the server with the room ID with the message. Yes. No message will be passed. If object dot keys user for each user ID. I okay. I feel like I got a hunch of it. What's the meaning of hunch? Yep, I have a hunch. All right. Uh, this is my node server. All right, this is my node server in which I have my WebSocket server running. Now this WebSocket server is creating a WebSocket every time a particular user is sending a message. Now if the particular user can send any message, it should be in the form of this particular JSON, which is this. This is the JSON. Now this JSON will have a type. Either you will be a publisher type, or either you will be a subscribe, not subscriber type or publisher type, but either you will subscribe or either you will send message. When you will be sending message, you will be directly publishing into the Redis. All right. Let's go for the publishing first. For example, if I a user come in and I publish a network, right? Firstly, I'll come. The type should be send message. Pass message or type send message. Okay. Publish client dot publish. This is my client that I've initialized. This is my Redis publisher client. All right. Publish client dot publish room ID, and this is what you need to send. Okay. So I'll share this is the room ID in which I want to publish this particular data. And what is the data? This particular data is we are stringifying this JSON dot stringify. So we are sending out a string. This is type send message and the room ID. All right, this is getting published. Now when it is published, the subscriber needs to get that published. Redis is like, okay, some data got published. I need to send this data to all my subscribers. But first I'll check, do I even have a subscriber? So when we come over here, we directly send firstly this user id rooms.push pass message.room. For that particular user id, push user id rooms.push pass message.room. Yes, push the room. uh, yeah, this is one question, that why is there a need of this. Why is there a need of this? If users id rooms dot includes past message dot room. No. Okay. Person comes. They are like, okay, my past type messages, I want to subscribe. Okay, if you want to subscribe to the data, obviously we need to check whether you do have that room or not. If you want to subscribe, if you want to be part of group 1, you need to check that whether you are part of group 1 or not. User id room dot include group 1. If not, then include him. Okay. Now, what does subscribing happens? What happens when subscribe? If one user subscribe to, if we even have one user subscribe to, then we will see this data. Now another question would be, in this, if you are pushing one user, then what is the point of having user is in this room? User id rooms dot push room. User is in this room. Has this server already subscribed to Redis for this one?
So what is the one user subscribed to function doing? It is returning true if only one person is subscribed to this room. It is returning false if more than one or zero people are subscribed to this room. So this specific function that we called over here will check, okay, is this the first person that got interested in this room? And if it is, then we subscribe. Let me put some logs. Console.log subscribing.
I don't understand this now. I'm getting so confused, man. I think I need to talk to Saksham. Yes. Need help. Let me exchange. Alright, the message has been sent, and now I can continue my misery. What does the cursor have to say about this? Explain me what has been done in this code. Alrighty, we got a reply. If the reply is positive, और पे हो सकता है. If the reply is positive, then I'll end my stream. If not, then I'll continue the stream. Alright, the reply is positive. I'll be ending my stream now. See you guys later. Thank you for joining for no one, because no one has joined aside from me. See you guys. Bye bye.